Charlotte's Compass is an exploration of the human condition. When you're acting, you need to figure out what it is that makes your character tick, and so by speaking to all of these different people, I'm getting an understanding of what motivates them, where they're from, where they're going, why they do what they do. And that helps me not only understand character, but human beings as a whole.
My shoe size 25 and not you. I wanna see the world.
I think that escape means different things to different people, and everyone's trying to escape something in some sense. In Dublin, I met Grant, who's an ex-soldier. He explained to me how he understood what it was like to have to deal with intense situations and the emotional drain it can take on you, and then what it was like to escape back into civilian life.
When did the point come where you were like, okay, I don't want to do this anymore, and why?
It came after the second tour of Afghanistan. I'd already done Kosovo, Bosnia and Iraq, but Afghanistan was a completely different kind of war. It was a different type of conflict. I felt at one point, I felt in my stomach that I'm not going to live, I'm not going to see my 30th birthday. It came to that close to, I just don't feel like, I feel like it's my time.
To just stop?
Yeah, I felt like I was not going to live. I felt like, okay, I'm young enough to go and do something else. The military takes a very big thing about telling you that civilian life, there's nothing there. There's nothing in civilian life for you. Like they put you on a kind of a pedestal to say that, all right, you're in the military, so you're better than civilians, so there's nothing in Civvy Street for you. This is everything that you need to know. Everything you need is right here.
Is there any like emotional training? Is there any like helping you with, because every human being has thoughts and feelings, and like everyone I've spoken to has talked about what fulfills them in life, and they say that it's a lot to do with finding partnership, finding love. But when you're in the army, it doesn't sound like that's something that's really a priority.
It's not the priority. I think relationships in the army are a very bad idea, because the simple fact is that you could have, so I know a lot of guys that have got married and divorced, or guys that have got married very recently. One particular friend, he got married, a few weeks later he never came home again. And we were all at the wedding, and then we were all in conflict with the guy, and we just have to deal with that. The army doesn't want to talk to you about your feelings. The only feeling that it wants to deal with is aggression. The thing that they train you to do is to be able to be normal, and then completely switch 1000% into the most aggressive person that you can possibly be.
How can you rev yourself up into that though? How can you flick into it?
They build it into you. It's the same as the spirit of breaking of an elephant. They build it into you. And every day when I was sat at my desk, I was writing a new message to myself, a new message of encouragement. And the one that stuck more than anything was day in and day out, because like the military, you do things day in, you do it day out. You create a repetitive circle to be able to constantly learn something. You have to do it. If you want to become great at anything, you have to make it muscle memory. You have to make it a part of you, a part of your life. You have to do it day in and you have to do it day out. The start of the day to the end of the day, you have to either want it and make it. It's either, the secret to life is knowing that you are the most powerful person in your life. You can create anything you want in your life if you want it enough. It's as simple as that. You just got to keep doing it, day in and day out, day in and day out, and become the thing that you want to be. It's the only way you can become anything. I think it's true. I mean, it's the only way you can, if you want to change your life, if you want to change your environment, no matter what you want to become, you have to want to become it.
And go for it day in, day out.
While I was in Cambridge, I met Huw. He was a scientist, and he goes for very long periods of time on expeditions to the Antarctic. He explained to me that sometimes himself and his crew members need to be able to escape that intense, pressured environment.
A lot of the scientists I work with will take something on the ship as a hobby to do, because we can be there for 2-3 months at a time sometimes. So we have people who build little model boats out of balsa wood.
Oh, really?
Or we have, in my case, I draw and paint. The only time in my life now when I draw and paint is on the ship.
Really?
Because it gives me... The weirdest thing is you're away from all your friends and family. You're away from home, but yet you're trapped with the same 35 to 40 people for 2 or 3 months.
Yeah.
And it can be... Some people can't deal with that situation. It is very much something you either thrive on or you lock yourself away or whatever. And my escape is to take something that is just about me.
It's almost like meditating.
Yeah,
or
it
mindfulness.
is. And we have people who do yoga on the ship. We have people who just go to the gym. People who attempt to play darts on a moving ship is quite entertaining, and even ping pong on a moving ship, which is quite entertaining as well. But
why is there the need for escape?
I think if you imagine your work colleagues and then you had to take them home with you every day for 2.5 months, even the nicest people in the world, you might want a little bit of space from. Not in a bad way, just in a, I wanted something that is not
For
about
me.
this. Yeah. A lot of the animals that we study.
In Ibiza, I spoke to a lot of people who had changed their lives and escaped in some way. Gloria, an actress with a background in the police force, found there was a very physical dimension to this. It wasn't just about finding your headspace, it's about the two working together.
I think we all need to understand our space. And I think a lot of the problem with people who think that they live in a rat race is because they have no boundaries. So what happens is it's like a feeding frenzy, and they get stressed and they do because if they don't, then they think, or people pressure them to do where my mentality is always I need my space. And as selfish as it sounds, it's always worked for me, you know. And maybe that's something I learned in the police academy, just on a physical level. Yeah. It was always, as a police officer, know your physical boundaries. Like there was, you know, from inmate to somebody who was arrested to somebody, there was always an arm length of where that person needed to sit.
Yeah.
So I think in my head, I've always, ironically, that's always been my space.
This is my domain, my headspace, my moment.
Yeah.
I have the right to take 20 minutes to myself to allow something to come into the empty space.
Yeah, but I think that people on an everyday basis don't unfortunately think like that, which is a shame.
There was nothing I loved more than when I learned how to drive, driving out the main road. I was only going as far as Tralee, but going out that main road and looking out and thinking I could be going anywhere, doing anything right now. And that feeling, I think, is paramount to human beings because freedom gives you a sense of wonder and everything's possible.